Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division 2 video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you game 1 of a best of 3 between Gnef and Gonzo in round 1 of the Season 6 playoffs of the Steel Division 2 League. Today they are playing on Orsha North, and on our left in the red team, playing on the Allied side, we have Gonzo using the 7th Mechanized Corps and the Juggernaut deployment type. And on our right in the blue team, playing on the Axis side, we have Gnef using the Panzergrenadier Grossdeutschland and the balanced deployment type. So this is the first best of 3 moving into the playoffs of the Season 6 of the Steel Division 2 League, and I'm very excited to bring this to you guys today. So this is technically the quarterfinals. Both of these players seeded highly in their groups and have therefore moved on to the playoffs to find out who is the best player in this season, Season 6 of the Steel Division League. So Gonzo's had, I would say, a little bit more practice moving into this. I think he played his games more recently before moving into this best of 3 against Vesely, which I showed you guys previously. Now he's playing against Gnef. He's actually chosen to bring the 7th Mechanized, which is the same division that he used in his previous game against Vesely. So he's certainly going to be on the ball. He knows that division well. But the Juggernaut deployment type is very interesting indeed. It's not something that you really see all that often. I guess it's technically a counter to the balanced deployment type late game, but you've really got to be careful that you don't let things get out of hand in the early to mid game, because it can still be punished in the late game. 155 points is more than enough to carry a victory from the mid game into the late game. Like a 20-point difference in that late game is not that much. But let's have a quick look at what's gone down. So Starkey Gomrotti leading the charge on the top side here. He's going to be using Sapli, Starkey DP and Rozvedka. Dushka moving into the town with Sapli and Starkey DP. Dushka to the mid with Rozvedka, Starkey DP, SU-85, SU-152, SU-76 Gomrotti. There's 2 Tankos moving down towards the centre. Another SU-76 there. Then he's got 3 Starkey DP, Rozvedka, Starkey Gomrotti. His start is very different to what we previously saw with the 7th. Gnef, in the meantime, 2 of these Flammenwerfer, 2 Panzergrenadiers with a Beobachter and a Sturmgruppenführer with the Pack 40. Another Panzergrenadier there. Sturmgruppe and Beobachter up on the hill with the Panther D and SDKFZ 251-9D moving off the hill towards the centre of the map with the Panzergrenadiers. Flammenwerfer already in position in the centre of the map. In the town, 2 Flammenwerfer Sturmgruppe. Sturmgruppe are 8-man squads with the MP44s, really cool squads actually. They have awesome outfits, or uniforms I guess they're called. Another Beobachter there, and then we got Aufklärer Panzer 38T with Panzergrenadiers on the bottom side here, Sturmgruppenführer and the Panzerschreck. This is sort of like one of the staple units of the Panzergrenadier Grossdeutschland. Really cool armoured car. Well, I guess it's technically a tank. Yeah, pretty awesome. Really good 20mm plus the recon makes it pretty formidable and good value for money. The 251-9D is also really good value for money. Get quite a lot of them on a card. 12 round per minute rate of fire with the HE on its main gun. Can take out support weapons quite nicely, and especially infantry squads. But it seems here that the SU-152 made short work of whatever was in the trees there. 82mm mortar, or sorry, 81mm mortar at the back here from Gnef. He's going to be trying to prevent these Tankos from getting on top of his Flammenwerfer. 2 more of these 251-9Ds coming in from Gnef to help control the open ground, and the Sturmgruppe coming into the bottom side to help reinforce this before he makes a play there. SU-76 going to be trying to take a pop from the light cover here. 251-9D does not have recon capability, so it is going to get taken out nice and easy without the SU-76 even showing itself. So great kill there. But basically, let's have a talk about this matchup, because I haven't really had much of a chance. The 7th mech is generally a more aggressive early to mid game division with strong medium armor capability and decent infantry to back it up. Meanwhile, on the side of the Panzergrenadier Grossdeutschland, they get these sort of smaller squads, but they can be very, very effective with high veterancy. With those MP44s, they get really cheap sort of SDKFZs to back them up, plus heavy armor if they need it. And yeah, just a all-round pretty good division with some decent artillery support options as well. Not so much in the air department as compared to something like the 11th SS that we saw previously. It's one of the newer divisions in the game. They're certainly very effective. These Aufklärer Panzer 38Ts come in very handy for supporting your infantry as you push up on enemy infantry. Gonzo being very careful here with these engagements, making sure the Stroki Komlotti moves back, make sure he maintains his veterancy on these units. It's super important for his engagements with the Panzergrenadiers here. Mortar fire now coming down. Looks like he's going to try and pick off the Strauki with this mortar strike. First mortar strike just landing around these units in general to help pin them down. Remove some of their veterancy. Gets rid of their lethality when it comes to engaging the Panzergrens, but this Panzer 38T is still firing away. Forces Strauki DP back for now. And this is the only engagement on the map right now. There was a bit of a dance obviously at the start in the centre. Didn't really amount to much. Did this Su-85 take a bit of damage? It did. I'm not quite sure what got the shot onto that. Maybe it came down to engage the Panther D. Panther D did the damage. The PE2 now coming in with the two 250kg bombs and the 100kg bombs. I'm not sure how much time was between this game and the games we saw between Gonzo and Vesely, but the deck is just dramatically different. It's really, really interesting to see. Like, he doesn't have the 100kg bomb PE2s in Phase A, or at least not that we've seen yet. And yeah, he's got this like sort of combination of more Sapori in his early game there, with the Razvedka as well. The Razvedka is really nice because it does give you a bazooka early on. You can see that the Aufklärer Panzer 38T has gone down here, probably with the help of the T-34-76. That Panzerstrek's got to go, otherwise this T-34 is going to remain under threat. You Sturmgruppe with the 2-star veterancy, however. Very, very scary squads. Charging up that hill. Going to be looking to clean out the Strauki DP at closer ranges. Oh, they're going to do so much damage. Getting full amounts of volleys of their MP44s onto these squads. Look how much damage the Razvedka take in the open there as they move across the open. 4 men down in a matter of seconds. Sturmgruppe are engaging these guys at close range as well. Look at that. Boom. Taken out. They were in heavy cover as well. PE2 was looking for a bombing strike. Looks like it lost line of sight on whatever it was targeted on because it wasn't given a fire position command, or if it was, maybe it was blocked by the smoke. Su-76 trying to take on the Marder. Marder does have a 2-star veterancy, so decent rate of fire. Loses line of sight of the Su-76. Su-76 managed to get a transmission damage. Really nice hit there. Su-85 is going to be trying to engage the Marder 3. So the Marder 3 missed, and the Su-85's got the better of it. Although they've both taken hits now. So both of these vulnerable to mortar fire even. And Su-85 looking for the shot there, takes out the second Marder. Nice kills. Now if the Marder takes out a Su-85, it's actually really good value for the Marder. So it was important that Gonzo got those kills with the Su-85s. Tenko's now moving up though. This is going to be very difficult for the Sturmgruppe to deal with. The Sturmgruppe are good with the MP44s, but the Molotov of the Tankos is really, really hard to deal with because it forces the Sturmgruppe to move, and when they move they don't have the infantry entrenchment bonus, and that allows the Tankos to do more damage. That's basically how it works. That's why Molotovs are very effective at the close range engagement. Not necessarily because they do damage. They do kill a couple of men sometimes, but it's more because they force the enemy squad to move, and that removes the entrenchment bonus. And the entrenchment bonus, for those who don't know, is basically whenever an infantry squad is stood still for a certain amount of time, it gains a defensive bonus. Tanko's there trying to clean up that Panzergren. Nicely done. making sure he gets control back over this forest here. The Sturmgruppe at close range definitely going to do an absolute number on Starkey DP. I was talking about how ineffective Starkey DP can be at close range previously in the last series we saw against Vesely, and it's mainly because of the Mozins. The Mozins, he's got 0.9 damage here, and he's got the 2 DPs. Now at 500 meter range, he's doing 1.9 damage, whereas at close range, he's only doing the 0.9 damage because the DPs can't fire within 100 meter range. Or Focke-Wulf there, Focke-Wulf bomber with the 500 kilogram bomb, trying to get the kill onto the PE2. Second a fighter brought in as well. Yeah, it looks like it's going to go on the back of the PE2. PE2 will maybe go down. Oh, maybe this Focke-Wulf will get the job done, but the P40, I think he's leading it on. Oh no, Gnef gets baited by the PE2. P40 gets the job done. Can the Focke-Wulf at least get this kill onto the PE2? I don't think it will. There's no AA here to finish this off either. Nice moves there by Gonzo in the sky, but oh, that was a poor turn from the P40. I think it might be able to pull away. It looks like Gonzo's baiting it over the 37. Mustn't turn too early or the Focke-Wulf will just kill the P40. Turns late, knows he's not probably going to get the kill there with the P40. Just got to hope the 37 gets enough damage on target. That's a really, really nice play there from Gonzo. Leads it straight over the 3-star 37 with the commander in play. Takes it down. Now PE2 coming in with the bombing strike, was looking for the Panther D there. The Su-85 gets the kill. And that's exactly what you want to be doing with these Su-85s. They are fantastic in light cover like this. 3-star Su-85 now engaging a 2-star Stug. Stug should have the advantage since the Su-85 already has some suppression, which is going to make it a bit less accurate. Oh, a bounce. Nice bounce there from the Su-85. Unfortunate for Gnef though. Very unlucky, I would say, in that engagement. Oh, and the beautiful hit from the Su-152. That was perfect. Mainly because the shot landed right behind the tank. And because it hit the weakest part of the armor, it did the most damage with that HE and finished off the Stug that had already taken a clean hit from the Su-76. So really, really good engagement there for Gonzo. And so far, he is doing very, very nicely. For having this Juggernaut income in the early game, he's matched up. But making sure he has value, or is getting value out of his units into the mid game, which we're now in with the sort of 11-minute mark now. Just moved into phase B. It's super important that he continues to get good trades, because otherwise this is where Gnef can start to build a lead. And then that's a lead that Gonzo will have to break down with the Juggernaut income in phase C. So, let's see if Gnef can get the job done. He's basically under pressure now to get back on the board really here. Gnef is currently bleeding tickets. He's lost control of the open ground in the centre with his Panther going down. And that is giving Gonzo this flag, which is pretty much the one that's pushing it 13 to 11. Sturmgruppe will probably finish off a Starkey DP here. Starkey DP are applying their full DPS at that range, but Bomber's going to finish that off, that last man. 2 Panzergrenadiers currently sitting here now with a Sturmgruppe in Führer. Sturmgruppe further down. This needs to be backed up with a bit more infantry, because otherwise it has the potential to be overrun. It seems like on the top side, Gnef has managed to push up his Flammenwerfer without really being engaged on. But Gonzo does have 3 units of Sapperley up here, and you can see he's starting to pay attention to the side of the map. Starkey, Komrotti giving these 2-star veterans C, they're going to absolutely demolish Panzergrenadiers. Panzergrenadiers cannot use their MG42s within the 100 meter range, since they are classed as a light machine gun. And that is very, very important for that engagement, because these guys can use their 2 submachine guns and 7 SVTs, which gives them, you know, roughly 1.6 damage, whereas the Panzergrenadiers are looking at like 1.4 damage at close range. So not only do they win in close range like light arms DPS, but they also have, of course, the TNT, which does the majority of the damage, and forces Gnef to kind of play around that. You see, he kind of tried to, or had to, run away early there to avoid that damage. Good kill onto the Pak 40, nicely done by the SU-152. The SU-152 does have the 2,000 meter range, so it can annihilate Pak 40s quite easily from range if he knows where they are, because the Pak 40s only have 1,750 meter range, so cannot reply to those engagements. But decent kill there from the mortar, picks off the Dushka. Not super important kill, but certainly helps any future advance over open ground. Gripen still trying to push through. Starky DP though, able to get some shots on. Be nice for him to finish off the Rozvidka there, because that removes the bazooka. And the 7th mech, I don't believe has like a lot of like options in that regard. I think we'll probably see Gonzo rely mostly on the Rozvidka for things like bazookas. Bombing strike there does do a good job pushing back the Panzergrenadiers for the time being. Oh, but the Flammenwerfer pins down the Sapoli. Gonna get a surrender, nicely done. The Gonzo coming in on this bottom side, found the weakness, used plenty of smoke, and started to push in. Oh, but look at those Tankos go down. That's 2 squads just deleted. Very, very quickly indeed. You're going to see these Pioneer squads come in with their HE at close range. Definitely trade with the Avtos. Got those 2 MP40s. 7 Kar 98s, MG42. Also decent at range. With the PE2. Oh, will that land on target? It's going to kill the Sturmgruppenführer. It's going to remove a lot of the veterans. See, it also killed off that Sturmgruppenführer. Oh, the Sturmgruppe squad. That was good. Looks like he's going to try and get that Pioneer into the building next to the Tankos. Another bomber though. Takes out that unit. It's going to surrender the one next to the Tankos potentially. Although I think the half-track is currently stopping that from happening. The 60-meter grenades from the Tankos might manage to finish off the half-track. Yep, they do. Something that is worth noting if you're newer to Steel Division is that every single infantry unit in the game does have the ability to kill open-top vehicles with handheld grenades. So if a vehicle comes too close, like a half-track, you can kill it with enough grenades. Because every unit has health, basically, in this game. It's just not really shown. Su-76. Trying to get some shots back here. Looks like it was probably trying to counter battery the 81mm mortar, but it moved. But at the moment, pretty simple push here from Gonzo. Nicely supported by bombers. Does crush the units that Gnef was bringing up. And I think the problem that Gnef's really having right now is he doesn't have anything to really reply to the PE2s across the map, and losing a Sturmgruppenführer like that is not ideal. Like, he does have the Flak 43s in the middle, but it seems like Gonzo's now just putting his bombers either extreme top or bottom side of the map, or he's just kind of like this Flak 43 is just too far back to really get a kill. Although in this case, because the Focke-Wulf 190 came in, the Flak 43 might be able to get a shot on target. Not quite. It's really up to this Focke-Wulf to finish it off. Will he be able to? No, doesn't look like it. E2 survives to fight another day. 2 Su-76s. They do have... It's really confusing. I think they do have radio range over this. Although I'm not sure. It's like showing the radio of the Sturmgruppenführer and Beobachter, so probably not. I don't know which would be the closest. The Visivod, probably. Regardless, Su-76s with enough shots on target might manage to kill this off. A couple direct hits would be ideal. to get rid of that mortar half-track. Mortar half-tracks can be really quite frustrating to deal with because, especially when they're closer up like this, they can provide their own radio. Although in this case, Gnef's actually investing in Beobachter, which is a unit that you don't really see brought all that often. And I guess it's something that I should probably have commented on already, but yeah, it's very interesting to see Beobachter. Usually, you just kind of rely on leaders providing radio. And Beobachter, it's kind of like a waste of activation points in a deck. So I am surprised to see them on the field. Like generally using like an artillery leader instead is a nice way to go about it, because at least then you get the leadership as well, and that tends to be like sort of the preferred use. Although maybe in a 1v1 that's a bit too expensive. Like in a 3v3, 4v4 it's quite common. I'm not particularly sure if Beobachter in 1v1 is a bit more meta, but in my opinion probably not. Tigery does take out the SG-76 in the middle there, or the SU-85, sorry. SG-76 is trying to potentially kill off the Panzergrenadiers as they move into the town. Because Gnef did manage to make a little bit of ground here briefly. P2 is going to be coming in for a bombing strike onto the Panzergrenadiers. Straki currently moving away, trying to get rid of these Panzergrenadiers before they get into the town. P-34 moving in. Oh, P2. It's going to go straight towards the other AA. This one surely goes down. This one's now 3-star veterancy as well. Will the last few shots get the job done? Nope. Wow. That is unfortunate. Poor Gnef doesn't take down another P2s. He's got these 2 Flak 43s. They're just not quite doing the job. That was unlucky. I feel like a couple times now he probably should have got the kills onto the P2s, but those are very, very resilient. SU-76 is persisting in trying to take out the 81 mil. Also now going for the 37 as well. I think the shots were all for the 37, just one was going stray there. Bombing strike. Oh, nasty bombing strike there. Oh, that was really, really bad. One of the pioneers got killed before it unloaded. The unit nearby died. And then the one that was forced to unload got taken down to 1 man. That was a beautiful bombing strike. Absolute carnage. Really, really unfortunate for Gnef. Like every time he's trying to bring up his infantry, it's just getting demolished by these P2s. And whilst this continues, whilst these P2s just continue to get more and more value in this game, it just makes it harder and harder for Gnef to come back, because now we're into phase C. Gonzo has the Juggernaut deployment type, so he has a big advantage on the field here. He's got the open ground advantage. He's got the ISU 122s coming in. The nice thing about these ISU 122s is they actually have 12 damage, which means they can one-shot Tigers and Panthers. Very, very scary to deal with. And with the 2-star veterancy there, thanks to the SU-76, quite accurate as well. Or at least your first shot's probably going to have like a 50% chance of hitting. So 50% chance of one-shotting a Tiger or Panther. Because with 200 mils of penetration, not much that gets in the way of that. So Gonzo in a really, really good position right now in the match, moving into phase C with a flag advantage. Gnef didn't manage to make back as much ground as he probably should have by that point in the game, but I feel like it has come down to the PE2s really getting some decisive bombing strikes, especially onto the infantry on this bottom side. These SU-76 is just constantly causing issues for any arty that Gnef is trying to use, and Gnef's tried to bring in an SK-18 here. SK-18 100 mils notoriously used for counter battery themselves, because they are more accurate, they have less dispersion than a 150 mil. So they're pretty good for counter battery, but not necessarily so much against armoured artillery. because they don't do as much damage. Their shells don't have as much blast, so they need to get more direct hits in order to kill something like an armored target, like the SU-76 here, which Gonzo's trying to use. So at the moment things are pretty quiet, both players trying to, I guess, consolidate and work out what they want to do next. Avtos are being brought up alongside two 82mm mortars, so I'm expecting some sort of potential smoke play here from Gonzo. We're going to smoke an area and rush in a bunch of Avtos, maybe into the town, potentially. Panzergrenadiers here. Still going to get bombed. 88s, two 88s hit those PE2, or hit that PE2, but didn't stop it dropping its bomb. And the Flak 43 finished things off. Oh, 88 shot was close. Oh, that one was close, that's for sure. Goodbye PE2. Looks like the 88s get the job done. This Flak 43 had like auto covered into the back of these trees, which meant that it didn't get as many shots off as it otherwise should have done. That's something you've got to be very careful yourselves, guys. Again, another good tip, make sure when you're using AA, turn off auto cover, because otherwise they will move into heavy cover when they're nearby, and that will often cause them to not be able to be used as effectively, because they will lose line of sight onto units in the sky. So here comes the smoke. Yep, looks like he's going for a mid push from here, which is, I would say, a bit more risky, like, because you've got lots of angles of attack here onto this road. I'd say 1,750 meter range though is probably more likely to be attacked from, but the Grilla might be able to get a shot in. That would have been nasty, but that's instead going for the Grossdeutschland Strauki DP there. Looks like the smoke's going to work out. Avtos, ooh, get crushed in their vehicles before they unload. The Sturmgruppe are in heavy cover, 2-star veteran C. Oh, they're going to delete these guys. These Avtos are really going to take a beating. He might just have enough Avtos to get into the town, but he's going to pay for it, that's for sure. These Avtos aren't cheap either. 25 points a pop. The Sturmgruppe already took out 2. Let's see if the Flammenwerfer can do anything. And the Avtos are pretty nice on the move with their submachine guns. Looks like the Avtos will just about manage to do it. Oh, maybe not. The Flammenwerfer, will it get the surrender before the bombs drop? The bombs went for the 251-9D back here. So the Avtos forced off. That was a really nice stoic defense there from the Sturmgruppe. Made these Avtos run away. And they're probably just going to get mowed down by the machine gun of the Stug and this Panther here, unleashing its main gun. Or the 88 coming under fire. Oh, this is risky. That is risky. Picking up an 88 that's being artied with a supply truck. That supply truck dies, so does the 88. This Pioneer squad actually doing a really good job. A lot of damage coming down on, or a lot of suppression and damage coming down onto these Straki. That's before they even get close, before they even get a taste of that HE grenade. P2 coming in for the bombing strike once again. Mobile Wagen not really going to be doing the trick. Thing is, the Flak 43 up here did get artied by the SU-76s. So currently, you know, Gonzo's just been focusing down any and all support weapons at range. So enemy artillery, enemy AA, is making sure that he can maintain the use of his P2s because they have been absolutely instrumental. But the Focke-Wulf there going down is another piece of the puzzle, because if he can get rid of the fighters, it's going to make it all that easier. Gnef needs to make sure that he doesn't lose them. It's interesting how this is working out. Gnef's, like I say, not too far behind in terms of like income in Phase C. He's only 20 points behind. So he can definitely build up a lot of forces and make plays across the map. And I think that's what he's currently trying to do. Get the Sturmgruppe into the middle here, equal things out at 12 to 12, and then both players can kind of consider what they want to do next. Gonzo's push into the town didn't really work out, so Gnef trying to make the most of that in the meantime. He's managed to push Gonzo out of his advanced position in the open with the back of the Panther A. He's basically, Gonzo's been forced to bring in these ISU 122Ss to clean things up a bit. The trouble with the ISU 122Ss is they can be unreliable. In this case, you saw the shot completely missed the 251-9. Second shot's not going to be the case though. Panther D is still going to have to back off if it sees one. This 88, it's coming under artillery fire. It's going to be pretty accurate artillery fire as well, because it's most likely within radio range of the Visivod. Stug went down. ISU 122s are finishing things off. How did that ATA not die then? 3 shots just landed right around it. One of these tanks should be able to do the job. But a lot of sort of critical units are being sort of picked apart here. Like the Stug going down, a bunch of these half-tracks, 88's going to get killed off. Like a lot of this matters because the next push, all of those sort of different half-tracks and Stugs and stuff would really, really help solidify the position here. But without them, you're just that little bit weaker, and it can make all the difference in a situation like this where there's like a bit of a standoff. First person to kind of break will be in a really, really bad position. Counter battery again coming in. The SK-100 is actually being used to direct fire the buildings of Gonzo in the center. They can be very good for that because they are super accurate. You can see how small the dispersion is here of the SK-100 with radio. And another 2 Avtos coming in. They're going to try and push onto this flag once again. Without the Sturmgruppe able to engage them from as far away this time around, because they'll be able to get at least into a couple of these buildings and run through the back gardens. But they're still in a bad spot up against Pioneers. Gula currently chewing the Visivod here in the mid. Losing the radio there for Gonzo wouldn't be ideal. They can hide, that's great, but I think is that a fire position command? Maybe not. The Avtala might just spot them anyway. So we see the Avtos engaging the Sturmgruppe. Yeah, gonna get pushed off. Su-85 versus Panther A. Down the road there. I don't think it's got eyes on the Panther, otherwise it would have fired at it. Su-85 goes down. Here come the PE2s once again though. I don't feel like any one point in this game there's been like enough AA to really take out these PE2s reliably, and that's just been a huge problem. Now off map coming down here as well. The bombers completely wiped out any infantry that the Avtos would have to face on the top side of that town, and the off map's pushing back units further down. That's the KV-1E now coming in with the 203mm off map. It's just really interesting to see like a late game like this. 1v1 is very, very rare that you see like a proper form late game. Usually like a long extended match is usually from like a Maverick versus Maverick where there's barely any units on the field. But we're seeing like a real build up here from both players. One with a balance, one with a Juggernaut, and it's much more sort of reminiscent of a like 3v3, 4v4 playstyle at this point. Su-85 going down. The SU-152 actually got Shooter killed here in the middle of the map. And killed by the Pak-40. Big kill there for the Pak-40. Gnef knows that he's going to try and cut his losses and run, but I don't think he's going to be able to. The Su-85 will finish it off with its accuracy and that 3-star veterancy. Oh, but we do see the mortar half-track finally go down. Hasn't been able to sit still for this entire match. Oh, and the Panther goes as well. Was that from a bomber? Trying to work out if that was a bomber or like a artillery. The PE2 comes in, almost wipes out one of these half tracks in the crash. Look at these two Pak-40s. One of them's going to go down as well with the artillery that was aimed at the mortar half track there. Here comes more off map. Grossdeutschland now moving in with the Straki. Gonna get the better of the Pioneers there. Beerbachter gonna get found, taken out. Seems like a lot of ground's gonna be made here. Half track might be pinning the Straki, but not for long as the bazooka is fired. Lots of artillery coming down onto the mobile wagon. It's gonna force that back. The Pioneers at range, still pretty scary for Grossdeutschland. Gonzo's going to respect both of the Pioneers, all of these Pioneers coming his way. Close range HE is just not something that these units can deal with very well. Going to pull back, probably rely maybe on another bomber, although the last one got absolutely eaten for breakfast. Pantherays, Tiger. The heavy armor is building up in the middle for Gnef. But what Gnef does need to do, if he wants to have any chance of controlling the open ground, he needs to start breaking down the ISU 122s. Currently they're all right on top of each other. But that would require some form of like maybe off map to take care of that, but you'd need to get it close enough. Or you can kind of like mass armor and try and take them out with like rate of fire. Because technically the Panthers should win one-on-one against an ISU 122 in an extended engagement, because the ISU 122 has bad rate of fire. But that's if Gonzo lets it happen. PE2 there coming in with a bombing strike. Pretty important for pinning down these Pioneers, allowing the infantry to move back forwards and surrender these squads without actually having to fight them properly. Really, really important play there. And now that the KV-1E has used up its off-map strike, it becomes a useful tank and pushes forwards as well, supporting the Straki in the push. Oh, nice kill there onto the Tiger, but looks like the Tiger did get a hit, maybe onto one of these ISU 152s. Oh, shot coming in there across from this Tiger. Oh, but a beautiful shot there from the unvetted ISU 122S. That was about a 40% hit chance. Yeah, that was a lovely shot. And Gnef respects it. He's going to bow out of this first game in this best of 3 between Gnef and Gonzo. Yeah, Gnef surrendering, giving Gonzo the win. So nicely done, Gonzo. Seemed in control throughout the entire game. Very, very surprising to see the Juggernaut play style in a 1v1. Like I said, it's very reminiscent of like a 3v3, 4v4, 10v10 that I play. And it was just really, really interesting to see Gonzo play it like that. The deck composition was very different to what we saw previously with the balanced deployment type with the 7th Mechanized. But yeah, kills and losses really kind of tell the tale. I think pretty much throughout this game, Gonzo was getting very, very good trades with his units throughout. And it really ramped up. The P2s did so much damage. The SU-152 as well there in the mid was chunking units. The P2 getting Pak-40, Sturmgruppenführer, Sturmgruppe, 2 of these Pioneer squads. SU-85 trading with a Marder and a Panther D, and the 2 251-9Ds is really good as well. Another P2 getting more Pioneer kills, another P2 getting Sturmgruppe Panzergrenadiers. Like, that's not necessarily paying off the P2s in these cases, but it's allowing his other units to move forwards and take advantage of units that are pinned down as well. You've got to bear that in mind. The early play with the 37 to take out one of the Focke-Wulfs was super important in this game, and taking out that air support at the start was really, really good. And yeah, later on, he managed to do the same with the 37, took out the second fighter Focke-Wulf. Awesome stuff indeed. ISU 122Ss just blapping tigers and panthers. And I think Gnef just realised he got too far behind in the late game against the Juggernaut, and it was all just going to continue to snowball from there. It could have happened either way, though. If Gnef had managed to find an advantage in the middle of the map with the Panthers against the ISU 122s, like say if he managed to 2v1 one of the ISU 122Ss with the Panthers, then he could have started to like pick off the rest of them and then push back, and he would have all of a sudden had complete control over the middle of the map, because there's only a limited amount of those ISU 122s, and I'm pretty sure that Gnef's going to have more Panthers and Tigers than Gnef or than Gonzo has ISU 122s, which are pretty much the biggest threat to him. And most of the SU-85s at that point would have already been dead. So, yeah. SU-76 is really well used by Gonzo to keep harassing the mortar carrier and also any other artillery and AA that came in. You can see the 82mm mortars were actually used to kill the Black 41 there. But on the side of Gnef, the Sturmgruppe were used very well in certain situations. In the town, we just saw it annihilate the Avtos. And on the top and bottom side of the map, Gnef was making some good plays, but just wasn't respecting the PE2s, which just kept picking apart his pushes every single time. The Guila in the middle was getting some good shots in as well, so good use from that. But I'm excited to see how the next game between these two goes. Gnef put up a really good fight, but Gonzo managing to maintain control, and into the late game, the Juggernaut sealed the deal. So, congratulations to Gonzo. Goes 1-0 in this best of 3 series. And we're going to be moving on to game 2 next, so hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.